Why, after 145 years in business, is the historic retailer Smith & Caugheys ending operations in New Zealand?
Smith & Caugheys, one of the country's oldest department stores, looks set to close.
Today, we're diving into the remarkable rise and fall of one of New Zealand's most iconic department stores. It all began in 1880 when Irish immigrant Marianne Smith opened Smith's Cheap Drapery Warehouse on Upper Queen Street in Auckland. As the business thrived, she was joined by her husband William, and just a year later her brother Andrew Caugheys came on board. In 1882, the business officially became Smith & Caugheys Drapers and Clotheries, and by 1884 they moved to their now historic Queen Street location. They also opened their smaller Newmarket store in the 1880s. Back in the late 1800s, New Zealand settlers needed clothes, and there were no ready-made options. You either sewed your own or paid a dressmaker. That made fabric shops essential, and Smith & Caugheys filled that need perfectly. Sourcing textiles from top British and European houses like Caugheys, Moygashells, Liberties and Tootle, they stocked everything from cottons to silks to woolens. And they weren't just selling bolts of fabric. Smith & Caugheys offered made-to-measure garments using imported American sewing machines for best money could buy at the time. Their dress department, later renamed the Fabric Hall, was once the largest in Australasia and the store's top performer for nearly a century. And whatever Smith & Caugheys did in the early years generated interest. The installation of electric lights in 1900 was duly reported on, and in 1904 the purchase of a motor van to replace a horse-drawn delivery carts then in service also rated a mention. Tailoring wasn't just for women either. Men could get custom suits, overcoats, riding hats, you name it, all the fabric shipped monthly from London. And fashion didn't stop at clothing. Smith & Caugheys imported hats from Paris and London, and they also made their own custom designs in their millinery workrooms. Respectable women didn't wear makeup prior to World War I, so there was no reason for Smith & Caugheys to stock it. But as soon as makeup application became acceptable, the company set up a toilet goods department selling cosmetics, skincare and perfume. And as Auckland grew and houses were built in places like Ponsonby, they needed furnishings, and who better to provide the creature comforts than Smith & Caugheys. The entire first floor was devoted to furniture, furnishings and household effects of every possible variety. And as time progressed, the building grew larger with additions added when needed. Today the top floor stands proud against the other Auckland icon, the Sky Tower. Through the decades, Smith & Caugheys evolved with the times, selling bias cut evening gowns in the 30s, tailored suits during the war years, and even Christian Dior's new look in the 50s, produced under license right here in New Zealand by Gus Fisher. To keep up with younger shoppers in the 60s and 70s, they brought in local labels like Pepper Tree, Society and Thornton Hall. And while ready-made clothing grew in popularity, the Fabric Hall remained vital, supplying designers and manufacturers who couldn't import fabric themselves. It is the only one of Auckland's early department stores still in business. Millman Choice, John Cootes, George Cootes, and Rendell's have long since closed their doors. In 1989, the Beauty Hall was completed, and it was the first of the kind in the country, gone with the formal counters and out-of-reach product displays. Eventually though, the era of home sewing faded. In 2004, after nearly 120 years, the Fabric Hall closed its stores for good. The window displays were always special, and every Christmas they went all out creating the best window displays in the country, and would attract many people to come see them. Every year a new theme would be shown to delighted crowds. These Christmas displays have been organised by Kevin Broadbent since 1980. In recent years, Smith & Caugheys have hosted fashion events, used spaces inside their store to showcase immersive art displays. So what has led to this icon's demise? Many factors have plagued Queen Street and Smith & Caugheys. Auckland Council had a thoroughly misguided concept of turning Queen Street into Amsterdam with large bike lanes and bus lanes. So they added these, and then they narrowed the road down from 4 lanes to 2 lanes in 2020. And they also removed car parks. And in a city with bad public transport and the love for cars, the severely reduced foot traffic around Queen Street. COVID also saw more people working from home, and this has continued. And while the Beauty Hall was modern in 1989, by 2024 it was feeling like a walk into the past. The store felt its age. The escalators creaked and groaned. And while Smith & Caugheys had survived the pandemic in May 2024, cracks in the armour started to show. They announced following Christmas 2024 that they would be closing both stores.
As Auckland's premier department store, Smith & Caugheys grapples with potential closure.
Later in 2024, it was announced that they would instead restructure and close the Newmarket store and consolidate the Queen Street store. The icon was saved. Well, until May this year, where it was announced that they would be closing for good.
Smith & Caugheys is set to close its doors after 144 years.
The regal and resplendent old lady of Auckland shopping is bowing out.
What you're seeing there is a massive shift in consumer market with respect to online and bricks and mortar retail.
One word, it was sad. Sad for me, for the family, for the staff, for the suppliers, really for the Auckland community.
This was following not being able to secure a lease agreement for a large retail space in a shopping mall, which was the last-ditch attempt to save the company. It was reported that the online store would cease on May 31st, 2025, but it's already closed. The store was to remain open until July 31st. On Wednesday, 28th of May, it was the start of their final sale, end of an era. I attended, and walking around you can see the impact this business has had on Queen Street. Beautiful facades, intricate wooden carved signs, historic elevators and grand spaces. It is a building which wears its history with pride. For the sale, the place was packed, it was hard to move, queues to purchase were long and stretching. It was extremely busy. Walking around you could see and feel the history. But look closer and it's clear that parts of the shop are no longer used. The top floor, which housed the cafe, is now vacant with a lonely Christmas tree. The escalators are shut off and blocked, but seeing the place full of shoppers going over every garment was like a bunch of piranhas feeding on a wounded shark, extracting every last piece of value until there is nothing left. They made over $1 million New Zealand worth of sales on that day, but it is not enough to save this grand old dame. It is a shame that it has come to this, for the once great Auckland brand will go the way of other great companies. If you're in the Auckland area, make sure you visit before they close their doors for the final time. If you liked the video, hit that bell notification, subscribe and help me grow. Comment down below if you've shopped at Smith & Caugheys. Let me know what was your favourite thing to buy. Well, that brings us on to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching.